And when we talk classroom management, a lot of people confuse management for strictly behavior situations. Now, that's not always the case, especially given the circumstances. When we talk about classroom management, we are literally addressing the management of now our in-person class in our online space. What is up, everybody? This is Cecilia Tames with the Game Plan Educational Solutions. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a really hot topic, and that is how would I set up my blended learning classroom if I was setting up my classroom this fall. Now, if you are a teacher that is concerned about what your classroom is going to look like, if you had an experience this past spring semester where your phone was going off at all hours of the day and night, asking you questions about whether work was turned in, anything was missing, if you found yourself emotionally, physically drained, even more so than teaching in person, then this video is for you. So make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to tap on that notification bell so that you know exactly when our next video drops. Also, when you do this, it pushes us up further in the algorithm and shows us to teachers that may need help with this topic. So if you're excited to learn more about this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, huge shout out goes out to the winner of this month's coffee giveaway, and that is Miss Erin Myers. So congratulations to Erin. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So with that said, the first thing that I would do if I was setting up my class is set my expectations. We have to set the bar somewhere. Now you may say, oh, come on, Miss Tames, things are going to fluctuate, plans are going to change. That's all right. What the students need to see is that you have a game plan, right? For you, for your class, regardless of what's going on outside of the bubble, right? You want to make sure that there's going to be structure, routine, because again, some students desperately want, crave, and need this. So you are doing them a favor by setting up class expectations. So what I would do is I would make a video, I would introduce myself, I would tell them how many days of the week they need to participate, how to check in with class, basically everything about from how to respond to assignments, how to turn in their work. If you're going to meet, what days of the week I would meet live with them, how parents can contact me, how students can contact me, and at what time is very important because I'm setting boundaries right from the start, right? You want to set those expectations like, hey, after a certain time, you guys get a break from school, I get a break from school. You know, this is just for the sake of preserving our mental wellness. So I would make this introductory video. I would tell them where they could find additional help. So if you don't know how to submit your assignment or attach a file, you know, there'll be this typed out, you know, PDF or whatever that'll give you the instructions with pictures or whatever, right? Now, it's very important that you make this video accessible to your parents as well. So I know that YouTube, I believe, has a feature where you can post a video public, it's not password protected, but that only the people with a link can see it, if I'm not mistaken. So you might want to look at that. You can also put it on, if you have a Google Drive and you use that with your school district, you can put it in your Google Drive, and when it comes to sharing it, whoever has the link can actually watch that film. So you're able to disseminate this information to everyone so that everyone's aware from the start of the school year how things will go. So number two, the second thing that I would try to do with my class is connect with them. I understand with, you know, all my teaching experience that I have, I've been an educator for over 10 years. I know, and I've learned the very hard way, trust me, the first couple of years where everything's an experiment, I have learned that if you create a relationship with your students, they will move mountains for you. And that's nothing but the God honest truth, because a student can tell if you care. So in step number two, I will create a connection. So how does this look like in an online setting? How can I connect with an online class? So what I would do is I would maybe create a live segment during the week where we do a show and tell. It could be something where we do a share out. It could be like a daily gratitude. And maybe you can start off, because obviously at first it's not very easy for students to maybe open up, but you can start by telling them about yourself, showing them about yourself. I know that in the spring, I would showcase my dogs a lot. So my students got to meet my dogs. I feel like this is the one opportunity, like ever, that we are able to show to our students a different side of us, a vulnerable, real, human side of us. And we can make that work in our favor if we know how to present it to our class. So again, I would connect with my students by showing up live or creating video segments that students can respond to, where we share out things that are not related to content. So it could be a new television series that's coming out. Again, it could be anything. And it's not so much that you have to follow in with the fad of what's going on, or, you have to be into all the latest rap songs that your students like or all the TikTok dances. It's not even about that. I feel like if you show up for your students and they see that consistency and they see that you are a person that's human and has interests and has, particular things that you're a total nerd about, I feel like that'll go a long way with them. So find a way to connect with your class. Number 3, the third thing I would do with my class if I was teaching online is to create routine. Again, I mentioned earlier in the video, students love this, students crave this. Is there a particular routine that you have that you just cannot be without? Comment below. Let me know if it's a routine that maybe you use with your class already. How can you transfer that to an online space? How can you show that visually? So you want to create a routine, whether it be every Monday, we're going to gather up or get together live and we're going to do a share out. Or every Friday we end by doing like a class feed or a class share out on the good things that happened this week, etc. So make little rituals, make little routines for your class. So in my particular case, I think what I did, I should say, in the spring was at the start of every week, I would start with a segment called Good Things. And I would use a program called Flipgrid. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I'll link it here below. I used a program called Flipgrid to basically make videos to communicate with my students, and then they're able to make a video to communicate back with me, and those videos, they can be set to visible for all classmates or private just for you to see. So that's another option that you might use to create routine. Also, if they know that you're going to follow through and actually check the assignment when you said you would check it, you're also inadvertently creating routine. If you do not answer text messages after a certain hour of the evening, like you said you wouldn't, then you are creating routine. And this is going to protect your wellness, your sanity, and also your students, right? Because they understand like it's time to disconnect from school, even though I'm learning from home. Number 4, be present. So I think that all educators can agree that what our students need is just for somebody to be there, to show up in person. They want to know that there's a human on the other line, on the other side, that's waiting for them, that's expecting them, that knows them by name. So just think of it this way, that you're going to have a group of students in your class whose names we've always traditionally had to learn. So you might have like a selfie roster of your class or something. Learn your students' names. When they pop into your Google Classroom, I'd be like, hey, so-and-so, how's it going? Hey, what happened that, you were reading that book the other day? Or, hey, what happened to your dog? Is he okay? Like you told me last. So follow up with whatever you were discussing last time or sharing out last time. Again, even if none of your kids show up at the very beginning, or if you have wavering attendance for your live sessions, do not give it up. Do not say, well, nobody's showing up. You want to make sure you keep showing up. because then kids know, like, hey, this teacher's determined to make it happen. Like, we need to be here. It'll speak volumes of you. Your students will respect you for it. Show up, be present. Number 5, if I had to set up my classroom, there is nothing that works better than an incentive-driven classroom. I learned after my 4th year of bumping my head against the wall that an incentive-driven classroom is magic. And I learned that love can conquer more obstacles than, than being tough and unapproachable ever will. So brainstorm. What I would do is I would brainstorm an incentive for my class. One of the things that I did this past spring was actually I held an online contest. It was like a trivia contest, and the winner would get a gift card to a store of their choice. So I actually did raffle off a gift card, and my students absolutely enjoyed it because there was a prize to be had there. But your incentives don't always have to be monetary. It could be like you can give them a shout out in the next video. It could be even, there's another thing that I used to do with my students called Happy Mail. I would buy like the prettiest rainbow colored, and this might not be your thing, but even the fact that you take the time to do this, the kids will love you for it. So in this Happy Mail, I would actually write notes to students about why I thought they were so awesome, and maybe something that they did that really just I found special or wonderful about them. And through the school system, maybe you can get that mailed out so that you don't have to necessarily use your own address. So that might be an incentive if you're on a budget. If you can dish out the dough, then you might consider doing like a grand prize or a gift card or something like that, because kids like food. End of story. So I would definitely create an incentive-driven classroom, even if it's in an online space, right? And I would advertise this and maybe even include this in my expectations video. Like, you participate, and you also have the opportunity to, et cetera, et cetera. Next one, be flexible. So obviously in this video, we're not necessarily talking about the students that don't have access to a computer. We're not talking about the students that, are going to on and off have problems with having access to technology. That's something that maybe your school district needs to figure out, right? Because that one is just out of our control. But what we can control is our flexibility with these situations. So don't get butthurt, don't get frustrated if your students are missing out maybe 1 week on, 1 week off. I think all of us have an understanding that everyone's situation is different, and we just have to be able to roll with it. So if you are a perfectionist with an iron fist like I am, it's time to let it be. Okay, we have to be able to roll with it, and just, again, following our expectations that we set at the beginning of the school year, allow the students to communicate with us what's going on so that we can adjust adequately. Okay, so I would be flexible if I was setting up my online classroom. And last but not least, boundaries. If I was creating my online classroom, you want to make sure that you are adhering to your own boundaries. So if you told your class, hey, my office hours are going to be from 8 to 5:30 p.m. or whatever, you want to make sure that you're not messaging parents at 7, 8 o'clock at night, because then you're rupturing those boundaries. And by doing that, you're giving them permission to reply to you. By replying to their messages at that time, you're also rupturing your boundaries. So that kind of diminishes the purpose of setting boundaries to begin with. You're blurring the lines of your class and home life. We got to understand that, our students need a break, parents need a break, you definitely need a break. So we want to be as clear as possible. If you have a messaging system where you can leave a message saying, well, we received your message, I will get back to you. Or I know that I use an application called Remind. Most teachers are familiar with it, but basically there's a message that says, you're messaging out of office hours, this person will get back to you tomorrow or whatever. So I would consider definitely not violating my own boundaries, because then you're going to destroy everything that you just set up. So these are some of my tips for setting up your online classroom. If you want to know more in detail, more in depth, how to set up your online classroom, and you actually want a working document so that you can plan as you learn, I do have an online seminar that is taking place. It is self-guided and it's completely free. I will link it below so that you can sign up. All you got to do is scroll to the bottom of the page. You can enter your email and it'll allow you to sign up for the class. It also includes materials for you to work through, and hopefully it'll give you an idea of what expectations and boundaries and details and game plan you want to set up for your fall semester. I'm wishing all you gorgeous souls a beautiful fall semester, and remember that your mindset is everything. If you are calm, collected, and making the best of a crappy situation, then you will give the fortitude to your students and your parents to stay positive, preserve that mental toughness through it all, be able to share in this collective human experience, and just overall, again, make the best of the situation. So if you like this video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. And don't forget to comment below what your biggest takeaways from this video were. Until next time, class dismissed.